Friends, the movie we're going to talk about today is one of the best science fiction movies of 2025. The story is incredibly interesting, featuring aliens from other worlds and plenty of action. So, without further ado, let's dive into the story. Our story begins on a planet called Yautja Prime. Here, we see a small spaceship come to a stop. From inside this spaceship, an alien-like creature emerges. They're actually called Yautja, and the Yautja live on this planet. These Yautja possess immense powers. They also have numerous weapons hidden inside their suits. This Yautja climbs a hill using a cable. This Yautja, who has just arrived, is named Dek. Dek now goes inside. Inside, Dek also has a brother named Kwai. These two brothers are meeting after a long time. Therefore, they don't greet each other warmly, but instead start fighting. They try their best to injure each other. Actually, Dek is very weak. That's why his brother wants him to be stronger so that he can compete with others. This fight between the two continues for a long time, but Kwai is very strong, so he throws Dek down. Dek gets stuck in a ditch, but somehow he survives. He tells his brother that he won't give up until he wins. Then they fight again. Then the two brothers end their fight. Kwai has a spaceship and brings his younger brother into his spaceship. This spaceship is equipped with many advanced weapons. Kwai makes his younger brother Dek sit down and points him toward the computer. He explains that finding a place in the community is very difficult. You have to prove yourself brave enough to join the community. And to do that, you have to bring something powerful with you. Just then, Dek sees a planet called Genna, where the most powerful thing lives, a Kalisk. Dek says, "I'll go to Genna and bring home that Kalisk. Then I'll get a place in the community." But Kwai says, "It's the most powerful thing. Even our father is afraid of it, so don't make such a big deal." But Dek is now determined that no matter what, he will bring back the Kalisk. Either he brings the Kalisk with him, or he will never return to the planet. Just then, their father arrives, speaking to his two children. As soon as he arrives, he asks Kwai, "Why didn't you kill your younger brother, Dek? This is our community's weakness, so eliminate him." But Dek replies, "I'm not weak. I'll bring you a huge reward. I'll bring Kalisk to you." His father insists that bringing him back is no child's play, so he tells Kwai to kill his brother. His father seizes Dek and declares that there's no place for the weak here. Dek begs his father, "Please let me go. I'll bring you a huge reward." But his father refuses to listen. Now, Kwai has a sword in his hand. He was about to kill his brother with it, but instead of killing him, he frees him and tells him to run away. Dek then runs away and hides inside the spaceship, leading to a fight between Kwai and his father. However, his father is much stronger and braver. He cuts off one of Kwai's arms and severely injures him. Kwai has the remote control for his spaceship, and he uses it to start the spaceship. The spaceship takes off, but as it launches, the father fatally wounds Kwai before it leaves orbit. The spaceship then heads for another planet called Genna. It enters the planet's orbit. All the glass in the spaceship begins to shatter, forcing him to eject his seat pod from the ship. However, as soon as he enters the planet, he discovers that there are many large creatures there. This is when he crash lands. But luckily, Dek survives. Dek doesn't know which direction to take. First, he takes stock of his weapons. He had plenty of them, but the trees in the forest where he crash landed are known to attack anything that moves. So, the first thing these tree-like creatures do is steal Dek's weapons. Then, they attack Dek. Dek has his own sword, and with that, he cuts the vines of the trees. But the trees begin to grip Dek. Dek is trying his best to free himself. Finally, after much effort and cutting through the vines of many trees, he manages to reach a cliff. The vines can't reach him at this point, and only then does he survive. Now, he faces a huge mountain, which he must cross, and he begins his task. First, he heals his wounds, as he's injured from fighting the trees and crash landing. Then, he begins his journey. He's passing through a meadow. He discovers flowers there. The flowers become toxic as soon as you get close to them. Then, he hears a girl's voice. This girl was tied up here, named Thia. Thia asks, "Who are you, and where are you going?" He tells her, "I'm Dek, and I'm going to get Kalisk." Thia explains, "This jungle is vast, and this planet is the most dangerous. You won't be able to survive on it, but I can help you. Just drop me off at a certain place. I can show you the way to Kalisk." But Dek says, "No, I choose my own path. I don't take anyone with me. Thia says, you won't be able to survive in this jungle this way. The wild things here will destroy you. Then Dek agrees and is ready to take the girl with him. But we learn that this girl has no legs and is not even human, but a synthetic being sent to this planet by humans and has been stranded here for 2 years. Then Dek agrees to take her with him, but then a huge winged creature appears and attacks Dek, injuring him. But by then, Thia somehow frees herself, and upon arriving, she saves Dek's life and kills the huge creature. Dek was ready to take Thia with him, knowing that she knew this place well, so Dek took her. But their journey was going to be extremely dangerous. There were some fish along the way that attacked them, but Thia knows how to control them, so she controls them and moves forward. They reach the forest. Dek cuts some tree roots and makes a rope from them. He uses that rope to secure Thia to his back so she doesn't fall during travel. Then they come to a place and rest. Thia introduces herself saying, I came here with my sister, Tessa. She's also a synthetic, but we're different. We can feel things so we can explore this planet better. But the Kalisk attacked us, and we both got separated. And I lost my legs. That's why I'm here. But don't worry, I'll definitely help you. We discover another synthetic named Tessa, who was also injured, but the robots heal her completely. Tessa also just wants to meet Thia. When morning comes, Dek and Thia leave. They arrive at a large grassy field where large monsters are eating. Thia explains that this is the Kalisk's food, so they have to somehow escape them. But he realizes that the grass here is spiky, so he can't walk on it. Just then, a monkey-like creature arrives and offers to help Dek, but Dek doesn't want to take anyone's help anymore. Then, this large creature attacks Dek. Dek then uses his sword to cut down the large creature. Then, another, much larger creature that lives in the trees attacks them. The creature captures Thia and Dek, but the monkey-like creature saves them both. The large creature then chases the monkey. Dek then cuts down a large tree, crosses the grass, and from there, reaches the large creature, killing it before it can harm the monkey. This saves the monkey's life. We also see a synthetic creature named Tessa. She arrives at the site where Dek's crash landed. She realizes that her sister is with Yautja and that she must save her at any cost. We see Thia. Night falls. They sit and rest. Now the monkey is with them. Thia names the monkey Bud. She doesn't know what species it is. Then they sit and eat. However, Thia refuses to eat because she is synthetic. Thia asks him, what are you doing here on this planet? He explains that he needs Kalisk because he wants to join his community. He also tells her about his brother, saying that his father killed him. They then decide to sleep there for the night. Dek begins to set up his place. However, a creature named Bud begins to imitate Dek. Whatever Dek does, he does it exactly the same. This annoys Dek a bit, and it's a funny point in the movie. We also see Tessa. She reaches the spaceship and finds it abandoned. When she goes inside, she finds a large number of weapons, including one that can turn anything into ice, and she takes all of them for herself. Dek and Thia also set off on their journey. Along the way, they stop by a pond. Thia begins to ask Dek why his father killed his brother. Dek replies, my brother was killed while he was protecting me. Weakness shouldn't exist within our community, and my father thinks I'm weak, and I'll prove I'm not. That's why I came here for Kalisk. She explains, the work you've come for is truly dangerous. She also explains that there's a planet called Earth, where many wolves live. They hunt in groups, but they also have a leader called an alpha, who is the strongest of them all. Dek says, if he's the strongest, I'll definitely hunt him too. However, Thia was trying to explain that community doesn't mean weeding out the weak, but rather bringing everyone together, just as an alpha leads all the wolves together. But Dek doesn't understand this. He's simply obsessed with hunting the most dangerous thing. They embark on a long journey, and after much walking, they reach a place where everything is destroyed. Thia says that this used to be their base, but Kalisk attacked them. Thia finds her legs there and goes to the lab to begin reattaching them. While she's reattaching her legs, she tells Dek, forgive me, I hid something from you. We're also looking for Kalisk, but Kalisk is very dangerous. You won't be able to fight him alone. That's why I want you to go back. You won't survive. So what will you do with that trophy? I just wanted to get back to my legs. And you did it. I thank you. But now you should go back. My sister Tessa is also coming this way. You should go away. But Dek says, you've betrayed me. You've used me. And I'll never forget that. But as he leaves, a very dangerous creature named Kalisk arrives at the scene. This creature was much larger, and a fight ensues between the creature and Dek. But Kalisk possesses immense power. He can't be defeated this way. Dek injures him, even cutting off his tongue. However, Kalisk regenerates all of his body parts. That's why killing him isn't easy. Dek ties up this Kalisk creature with a chain and cuts off its neck, but its neck reattaches. This makes him realize that it's impossible to kill it. But then the creature attacks Dek and seems about to kill him, but then he starts smelling Dek, and because of that, he can't kill him. It senses something familiar about him and stops. We'll find out why he can't kill Dek in a moment. Just then, Tessa arrives and attacks the creature. She has a weapon that can turn anyone into ice. Therefore, she uses this weapon on the creature, and the entire creature, named Kalisk, turns into ice. Even Dek turns into ice, and Tessa captures them both. But due to their fight, the synthetic being named Thia couldn't reattach her legs. Tessa then grabs Dek and brings him to a place. She tells Dek that her mother will be very happy. She will give him to her as a gift. In reality, Tessa's mother refers to the people who sent her here from Earth, her creators. Dek tells Thia, "You betrayed me. You got me caught." But Thia can't do anything. She tells Tessa, "All we needed was Kalisk. We already had him. We should let Dek go. He saved my life." But Tessa doesn't listen to Thia. She just wants to take Dek with her. Everyone leaves. Only Thia and Dek are left. A robot appears near them. Thia tries to take the robot into her laboratory and somehow frees Dek. Dek escapes and jumps down, saving his own life. But Thia can't go anywhere, and Tessa's men capture Thia. Dek goes straight to his spaceship from here. He realizes that he has no weapons because Tessa has already stolen his. So he collects some items from the jungle to make weapons and attack Tessa, because all he needs is Kalisk, who is with Tessa. Then he also sees the monkey named Bud, but Dek realizes that the monkey who was with him all along is Kalisk's child. This creature named Bud was searching for its mother. That's why it was following Dek. We learn that the creature named Kalisk couldn't kill Dek because it smelled its son's scent on him. It knew that its son was with him. Then Dek escapes with the monkey and attacks the base as soon as it arrives. First, he destroys many robots. The battle continues against the guards. A synthetic being named Tessa also communicates with Earth from here and informs the Earthlings that she has captured Kalisk. "I'm coming now, and we're about to launch in 20 minutes. But then she realizes that Dek has returned, so she sets out with her robots and says, "This time, let's finish this Dek." There's a synthetic being named Thia, whose legs are also roaming around here. Her detached legs move autonomously due to her system malfunction, and somehow, Thia also manages to break free. She also kills many robots here. All these robots belong to Tessa and work for her. Finally, Thia manages to reattach her legs, allowing her to walk. But they must somehow save Kalisk, as Tessa is taking Kalisk from here to Earth. At the same place, there's a little monkey named Bud, who is also protecting his mother, Kalisk. Tessa has locked Kalisk in a place, and Tessa is going to kill Dek. He has several robots with him, but Dek, using his brain alone, destroys many of them in one go. Then, a huge robot appears before him, piloted by a synthetic being named Tessa. It's exactly the same robot design seen in the movie Avatar. Dek then fights this robot as well, determined to somehow destroy Tessa. Meanwhile, we see Thia arrive at the scene. Where Kalisk was imprisoned, she unlocks the doors using her retina, freeing a creature named Kalisk. As soon as this creature emerges, it attacks the large robot piloted by Tessa. A lengthy fight ensues between this large creature and the large robot. But Kalisk is so large, it swallows Tessa and takes her inside. Thus, Tessa's story ends. This Kalisk also reunites with its child, meets Dek, and also meets Thia. But we learn that Tessa has been trapped inside this Kalisk, and that Tessa possesses a weapon capable of turning people into ice. Because of that, she stays inside this creature and turns it into ice, and the entire creature breaks apart. That is, the creature named Kalisk breaks apart. Then, a synthetic creature named Tessa comes to attack Thia as well, but Dek comes from behind and brutally stabs Tessa and severs her neck, killing Tessa completely. From there, Dek goes straight back to his planet, which is named Yautja Prime. There, he meets his father, and asks him to accept him into the community because he is hunted and brought him here. His father refuses, saying that he will not accept him into the clan. Furthermore, his father sends 2 of his Yautja, but because Dek now possesses the power, he destroys both of the Yautja. Then he gets into a fight with his father, and Dek, unmoved, kills his father after a long struggle, becoming the leader of his community. We also learn that Thia and Bud are also here. They're with him. While the 3 of them are standing here, a huge spaceship arrives. No one knows what's inside that spaceship. Dek then declares that his mother is inside. And with this suspense, this science fiction movie ends here. I hope you liked this movie explain video. If you want to see more similar movie explain videos, then you can watch this video by clicking here. Now I go and see you in the next video.